Hello everyone, welcome back to 5-in-1 Gaming. My name is Kyouma, and today we are playing Tracks in Snow. This is probably going to be another visual novel, just going by the vibe, and the fact that it had the generic Renpai logo. And, oh, there is like no audio. That might be intentional. Well, anyway. There does seem to be a tutorial, which is different for typical visual novels, so let's check that out. Move my mouse cursor out of the way. Okay, there is in fact music. And I'm just going to turn that up a bit so that y'all can hear it. Alright. Welcome to the tutorial, or really, I should say, a crash course in acting through me. So, what does this mean for you? Well, unlike a traditional visual novel, you are in charge of me or my partner's physicality instead of making choices off of a menu. If you aren't already, I recommend using space to advance the text because you'll be using other keys on the keyboard too. Before we go any further, I want to be clear about something. There is no right answer to how we all act out a scene together. Oh, so is this improv? It's just basically going to be like an improv simulator. Oh, I'm already interested in the premise. Let me repeat myself. There is no right answer to how we all act out a scene together. The story we are all telling together might not branch its plot based on your choices, but that doesn't mean you won't be making choices. How you make me or my partner act will change the way we say a line, our part of the background music, and our expression. I'm the viola, and my partner is the clarinet, by the way. Okay. I am hearing the viola, I am hearing the clarinet. I am going to just bump up the volume a little bit. Alright, and I hope that you in the audience can hear it alright there in the background. It is rather quiet, even for me. And if in the novel proper the music is louder, then I'll have to adjust that. But I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So, while you won't be picking what we say or where the story goes, you have a lot of control over how it all happens. My partner, or me if you're playing as my partner, will be acting alongside you and respond to what you have us do as well. On to how this all works. By default, when you aren't pressing buttons, I'll be acting out resting. Try having me do something different. Press and hold M to have me perform a closed gesture. Oh, okay. So that's like a closed gesture. Okay. Let's try that again, but hold M down for longer to make me really sad. Okay, so as you were making me sad, the way that I'm talking and my expression changed. If you're still holding the button down, feel free to let go and let me recompose myself. I want to relax a bit after that. Could you please press and hold N to help with that? Ah, okay. Oh, okay. So, N for relaxing, M for closed off, okay. Happier! 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 Oh, I like that. Thanks for that. Can you let go so I can recenter myself again? How about no? The last big gesture you'll be having me perform while you act with me is projecting energy. You'll see what that looks like when you press and hold B. Ah, okay. Angrier. Angrier. Oh, okay. Wait. Oh, is... Okay. Oh, okay, so there's like... Okay. Okay. Okay, so there's like... Okay, so you can kind of like cycle through these. Okay, you can combine them. If I could get mad on my own, I would be right now, but I need you to hold B to do that. I'm not even holding B. I should be clear. So, a couple of things. First, these are all the actions, gestures that I'll let you do. Second, you might have noticed emotions other than the ones I had you trying to have me express pop up. I can convey joy, anger, fear, sadness, love, and worry, but some of them are more difficult for me to express. This is where modifier keys come in. These keys don't have as dramatic an effect on how I act, instead they change the tempo at which I gesture. They can also change how quickly each of the emotional effects we're working with change. If you have me relax for a bit using N, please, and then have me project my energy using B, you'll notice there are two affects that I could be expressing. Those are love and anger. Whichever effect is the strongest is the one I'll express, that is until it gets weaker. Oh, sorry, you can stop holding buttons down. The two modifier buttons are C and Z. Holding C down will make all my gestures slightly faster. Holding Z down will make all my gestures slightly slower. Each of these buttons will have an effect on how strong each of my potential emotions will be at any given moment. Okay, it would take too much time to explain all of them here, and besides, trying things out is the best way to learn. One final note, only one modifier key will be detected at any time. Holding both down will not make me return to a neutral tempo. That covers the basics at least. One last reminder though, there is no right answer to how we all act out a scene together. Anyways, you can come back here whenever you think you need a refresher, but this is where we part ways for now. Alright, so... a very interesting concept. A visual novel where you don't control the outcome, but you control the emotions of the people involved. I'm already intrigued. Well, let's start as Rika. Ooh, okay, we've got a tank, nice. I can already see why it's called Tracks in Snow. M35 Shell or Shield. I don't speak French. I don't know how it's pronounced. That is a very powerful aesthetic. I feel like I'm forgetting something. The sound of something tapping on metal. I think it's fine. You know, you're right. The sound of something tapping on metal. Louder this time. Yeah, everything's fine. You okay over there? You look like you've seen something you shouldn't have. Like a ghost. Heard. You heard something? It's just travel nerves. You know how I can be on jobs. The sound of something tapping on metal, slightly louder than before. Yeah, and that's how I know it's not just that. I'm fine. Sure you are, and I'm an Orthodox rabbi. Look, really, don't worry about it. The sound of something tapping on metal. I appreciate the commitment to the bit. I really do, but you're an absolutely terrible actor. And I'm realizing how absolutely terrible an idea this was. Don't go there. I know where going there goes. Suffering. Oh, and this isn't suffering right now? No, this is just suffering. Isn't this part of the deal? Do the suffering now to get out of the suffering? Does the deal say anything about the suffering feeling like suffering? Alright, I'm getting like... I think that's just a you problem. You and your overthinking head. I've just never done something like this before. Well, neither have I. How are you so calm about it then? Well, you're here, and I feel like a wreck. We've never done something this stupid. Staying in that house would have been stupider. Also, your foot's still on the gas. Yeah, if I lift it up, it's not going back down. You say you're a wreck right now. What about the last I don't know how many months? That was just because of all the jobs we were doing. Uh-huh. And why were we stretching ourselves like that? Because we had to. To survive Chi. Right now, it's so we can live. You know there's a difference, right? I do, Ree, but this... Packing up and leaving everyone and everything terrifies me. The sound of something tapping on metal. If this is about whatever's going on out there, once the wind dies down, I'll go out and see if something needs to be tied down tighter. No! The sound of something tapping on metal. I don't think there's wind. What'd you say? I said I don't think the wind is going to die down anytime soon. I'm patient. That's such bullshit. I've waited for you to work up the courage to actually go after this wreck up north for God knows how many years. That's not fair. Neither is you calling me impatient, especially when you were the one waltzing into the house with the news that you'd found an untouched hundreds of years old mech. And then I realized how far away it really was. You were the one who told me this was our ticket to a better life. Ree, I was still on the high of discovery when I said that. Then I thought it over. It was too risky at the time. The sound of something tapping on metal. Oh, and now is better? No, but I couldn't stand walking by all the buildings being torn down with the people who used to live there huddled under the scaffolding. Even if we could survive, someone would want the land. Hang on, no. Even if we could survive, someone would want the land. I didn't say anything. I spent the last year trying to get details about it, but nothing. I have no idea if any of our equipment will work with it. If it doesn't, we can just drag it all the way to the library. It's a mech. A mech-re. I know, Chi. Even if we can't get it working, there has to be a way to use it. Couldn't we try and lead them to it as part of a deal? You know their opinion of outside help. The only way this whole thing works is if we show up on their doorstep with something functional. God knows if it's still there. I'll just dial them up and ask. Let me know how it goes. The sound of something tapping on metal. God says to get going. That was fast. They must prioritize people fleeing their homes. That's strong phrasing for what we're doing. Then what would you call it? Fleeing. Now they're asking me when you're going to let me outside so I can check on everything. When it's safe? It's never safe. When it's safer. You have any estimates on the part? I realize that I've definitely seen you do stupider things than what you're asking to do right now, but name one time. How about that time you were standing on top of the hatch you were cutting open so you could get inside some wreckage faster? I tied myself down. I know, I tied myself down. I'm realizing there's nothing I can say to that. It's fucking cold out there, too. You're just proving my point more. Maybe, but I did get you thinking about something else, so who's really winning here? You're definitely the one winning. Who's to say that you aren't winning if I am? I'm not... How the hell do you even pronounce that? M35CH311E. Michelle? I think that's supposed to be Michelle. I think that's the name of the vehicle. I think that's the name of the tank or whatever we're in. I'm not Michelle, Ree. I don't follow. I appreciate the thoughts, I really do, but stop. What? Trying to fix this. Fix me right now. You know what you need to stop doing? Putting all this pressure on yourself to try and guarantee everything will go just right. Nobody's perfect, Chi. I know. Then why do you keep doing this to yourself? I don't know. Chi, we're doing something, as you've been calling it, stupid. If we're gonna keep going, you're gonna have to stop doing this at some point. Let me have this right now. You and I both know how often you get stuck like this. Let me have this for now. I'm not used to doing stupid things. The sound of something tapping on metal. Okay, I'm just now noticing from Chi's body language that, like, that the sound of something tapping on metal is kind of spooking her. Here's another stupid idea. Am I the one doing it? Nope, you're not the one doing dinner tonight. Why are you even thinking about food? Didn't we just have breakfast? I'm a slow chef. Even you couldn't take all day for meal prep. How often do I make elaborate meals? Besides, we need to use the fresh stuff. Let's at least get a little further. If I stop now so you can start prepping, I might just turn it around when I sit down again. I never said anything about stopping on my account. I see why you call this a stupid idea. Perfect, right? No, we might be on packed snow, but it's not a smooth ride. Did I ever say this was a discussion? There's only one condition for me making this elaborate dinner. You gotta stop... you stop thinking about whatever the hell it is you're beating yourself up over. This is definitely worse than you standing on that hatch. It's the only catch. You know I can't promise you something like that. Do you want to help? What? Do you want to help cook? I thought this was an elaborate gesture of love. Do you want to help or not? Now? Yes. What about us getting a little further? You don't want me backing out of this, right? Yes or no? The sound of tapping on metal. Didn't you hear what I just said? Yes, and God is with me on this one. Now are you helping me or not? Can I have a second to think? You think too much already. I'm making dinner tonight then. I never said anything. You were asking me what I wanted to do, and this is it. We both know that's not what I meant. What was your goal, really? Make me dinner or get me to stop thinking about what I've been thinking about? Both. Well, to make one of those things happen, I need to work on dinner tonight. How is it that whenever I try and help you, you manage to turn it into doing something for me? It's just who I am. Oh wait, hang on, no. That's not the vibe. How is it that every time I try to do something to help you, you turn it into doing something for me? There we go. One of these days... Do you want to help? Always, Chi. Always. Bree, Here's a compromise between my stupid idea and your stupid idea. We decide on the menu now, and then we keep going for a while. That sounds nice. Good, because you are getting my help whether or not you asked. I'll even do all the cleanup myself. Well, I can say that one part of your stupid ideas definitely work. We're just picking the menu now, right? Okay, that's interesting. I'm not entire. You know, it's hard to get a read on like what the vibe is in the conversation as it's happening, you know? Like from the dialogue, it kind of just like drifts from like closed off to laid back to kind of angry, you know, on the verge of fighting. But like it's so hard to like get a read on like what the vibe is and like how to change the physicality as it happens. And for anyone just now tuning in on Twitch, this is a game where you control the physical emotions displayed by one of the two characters, which fascinating concept. Anyway, Chiara manages to stop Michelle before Rika drags her back to the makeshift kitchen sectioned off from the rest of the interior. The two take stock of the most perishable things and try to piece a reasonable meal together out of it. While Chiara mostly gives Rika free rein of the selection, she makes sure certain foods are a part of their plan. Horseradish, parsley, apples, almonds, eggs, oranges, and olives. Couldn't help but notice there wasn't any bread. Well, I did say we're fleeing and bread doesn't keep. I can think of two reasons it doesn't keep, and they're both sitting right here. Takes up space. Space we don't have. You say that like we couldn't store it up top. It'd be frozen then. You're telling me that... You're telling me that you, Miss puts bread in the freezer so it keeps, doesn't want to deal with thawing any? Yes, we have better uses for power. Now you're just making excuses. What's with you? Nothing. Let me get this straight. You figured apples and oranges were worth some space, but not bread? They take up less room. And don't last anywhere near as long. I'm just trying to balance out some niceties with practicality and tradition. Bread isn't a nicety according to... Oh, did you plan this? It was a way for me to kick myself into doing what I had to. So yes. I'm sorry, I thought you'd remember too. When have I ever remembered, Chi? When have I ever remembered anything? Rika... God, I'm so bad at this. No, you're not. You're always the one who leads the cedar. You're always the one doing the prep work. You're always the one reminding me of when things are. That doesn't mean anything. Says the person who is primarily responsible for keeping the traditions alive. Now I know why you were so adamant about making dinner tonight. You say that like you don't think I trust you. You know that's not true. Then why didn't you say anything up till now? It kept slipping my mind. Honest to God, fleeing takes a lot out of me, it seems. The sound of something tapping on metal. See? God is with me on this one. I'm not mad at you. Stop being mad at yourself then. There are so many things I could say to that. Believe me, I know how it sounds coming from me. Gee, you don't have to do that. I know you're just trying to help. Same as me trying to help you earlier. And you're helping me with dinner tonight, right? That has to count for something. What does it matter? It matters because you're a part of the holiday, a very important part. So someone can go look for the Afikomen? You know that's not what I mean. How the hell are we even doing a real setter like this? We don't have wine, didn't see any actual matzah, and I sure as hell didn't notice a shofar anywhere. And you say you're a bad Jew. Anyone can remember. Anyone can remember this stuff. Rattling off things about a Passover Seder? I don't think so. Okay. I'm not that familiar with Judaism, so I'm absolutely going to be pronouncing things wrong. I don't know if it's Seder, I don't know if it's Seder, I don't know if it's Seder. So, apologies to any Jews watching this. I don't know how things are pronounced. My apologies in advance, because, yeah. Anyway. Anyone who's been to a few could. More importantly, caring about it like you are right now? That doesn't mean I'm good at it. From your perspective, I'm good at it, right? Of course, I wasn't trying to... I know, I'm just saying that if I can cut corners, forget things, and still be a good Jew, why can't you? I'm just not. That's not how that works. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Isn't what I said we should drop it. I'm not talking about you anymore, I'm talking about us. Isn't what we're doing an unquestionably Jewish thing? Only because you're here. Ignoring that for now, what are we doing at this very moment? Talking about me? No, in the grander scheme. Figuring out how to put on the worst Seder ever? What else? I'm not fleeing. Fleeing on Passover. Yeah, okay. How are those things not the most Jewish thing you could think of? I know you planned this at least a little, but it's awfully convenient. My relationship with God might be tenuous at best, but I do occasionally try and listen. The sound of something tapping on metal. Like that. I'm starting to think that's not God. You were the one who said it was. Why should anyone listen to me about anything spiritual? It was for fun, Ree. Humor is necessary. The wind's probably died down. Let me go check on things. It's not safer yet. If that sound is what I think it is, then the wind has died down. What if it's Elijah? Why the hell would it be Elijah? Well, we're travelers. It's Passover. Those are both reason enough. We haven't done anything for Passover yet. Fuck, I'm here. Why the hell would Elijah show up? Really, Rika? Fleeing our home today of all days is not doing something for Passover? Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Are you going to let me check the roof? It's not safe enough. God thinks I should go check the roof. You're unbelievable sometimes, you know? I'm sorry. I think I just need some space. Take it then. Just in here, please. Do you have your packing list anywhere? I think it's somewhere back with the food. Why? I want to go over a couple things. To be safe. Okay. So, a lesbian Jewish couple fleeing their homes in basically like a snowmobile RV is the vibe I'm getting. And traveling across what, for all intents and purposes, appears to be a frozen wasteland. Hopefully it doesn't take them 40 years to get to wherever they're going. Frozen deserts are just as bad as sandy deserts. Or maybe not. What do I know? Rika slowly extricates herself from the chair and heads back towards the makeshift kitchen, stumbling briefly as Michelle plows through a slightly larger than usual amount of snow. As she rummages through the various boxes and miscellaneous containers, her partner occasionally glances... blah 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 blah. As she rummages through the various boxes and miscellaneous containers, her partner occasionally casts a glance her way. Finally, upon finding the list, Rika makes her way back to her seat, already engrossed by it to the point of almost tripping as the floor beneath her shifts. She sits down and repeatedly pores over the list, making mental and physical notes, oblivious to the looks from Chiara. Eventually, Rika finishes her checks, even if she is not satisfied with them. Okay, did you find what you were looking for? Not really. Do you want some help? No need to get up, you can help me from right there. I'm confused. Why are we here? Now? That's a deep question, Ree. I don't really have an answer. The sound of something tapping on metal. See? God agrees. I think God is telling you to answer my question. For someone who doesn't think she's Jewish enough, you're awfully chatty with God. Besides, I don't think I'm qualified to. First off, I'm not. I just want to go check on the roof. Second, you're overthinking everything again. If I am, you're doing all this on purpose then. Ah, you got me. You've always got me. Okay, I'll get to the point. What made you decide we should leave? I already told you, it's Passover. And I couldn't take continuing to see people forced out of their homes for no reason. That's been happening for years. Exactly. It's a slow process. Maybe I finally woke up one day and realized what happened. That satisfy you? Not really. What would, Something more. You're asking me about something I don't know if I have the words for. That's perfectly fine. I'm patient. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. Alright, fine. Having the perfect way of saying something doesn't matter. It's not about perfection. There's a lot I need to sort through. You have plenty of time. And I'm worried that if I look too deep, I'll turn around. That won't happen. What? Because we're doing this together. So, what changed? I think it was seeing a few of the houses on our block turn into entirely different buildings. The first one going up was something else. Nothing was wrong with that house, and all of a sudden it gets converted into a mini mansion? That'd been happening all over the place. I know. Just seeing one right there, it really hit home just how little the whole city was for us anymore. Then it started happening faster. Oh, okay, so they're fleeing their hometown because the whole city's getting gentrified, basically. That's the impression I'm getting now. I would have been happy to talk to you about it before all this. There wouldn't have been anything to talk about then. I can barely tell you how I'm feeling right now. Well, what are you feeling now? I don't know. It's hard. I get it. Still, I want you to tell me when you can. We'll be here a while? Yeah, I'm patient. I know. Take your time. Homesick. That neighborhood was where I grew up. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not sure how much else I can say. Yeah.
Things will be okay, right? Yeah. Do you feel anything about leaving? Of course I do, but I never had as much of an attachment to that house as you. It's not just the house. I know. I also know that this particular fight is over. Don't say that. We can always go back to try and fix things. How much do you really believe that? We took as much as we possibly could with us. The sound of something tapping on metal. You managed to not answer my question. And before you say anything, don't bring God into this. I told you that I do have feelings about it. What are they then? I'm just happy we're doing this together. What about the house? This is my home. Then what was that house? When you were around, it was home. I see. What do you want me to say, Chi? That's the truth. So all the effort I made keeping that place up was for nothing. That's not what I'm saying at all. I don't think there's anything anyone can do to make watching your community scatter into the wind pleasant. Why didn't you ever say anything then? You seemed like you wanted to stick it out, and I wanted to support you in that. Still, Ree, you could have told me. I knew how important your life there was. I know how important it still is. Besides, we were constantly out doing salvage, we weren't in town much. And that made it bearable. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Well, it's all over now anyways. I don't... You're right, there's no going back now. Really, that's... Talk to God about it. I'm sorry. Rika, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ooh. Damn. Oh, can you imagine? Like... Can you imagine having these kinds of, like, big potential relationship and, well, having, like, this kind of, like, big fight with your partner where if you say the wrong thing, you know, it could turn the relationship in a downward spiral. But you're just stuck in the same place. And neither of you can actually physically leave. Like, ooh. I mean, even without the stress of fleeing their old neighborhood in a camper van snowmobile, like, enclosed spaces and, like, being stuck together for extended periods of time really are just like a make or break, just pressure cooker of tension. And I'm over here eating the popcorn, watching it all go down. Alright. There's nothing left for either to say as they continue their journey. The sun finally dips below the horizon, leaving them alone together. No matter how unbearable the silence, neither can stand to break it. Eventually, Chiara stops Michelle and goes back to the makeshift kitchen to start preparing Seder plates. Note to self, look up how the hell to pronounce that word. The two begin what becomes an unusually quiet Passover Seder. Partially from the strain of their journey catching up with them, and partially from being lost in their own thoughts. Almost everything having to do with the Seder is gone wordlessly and in unison, as both regularly glance down at their well-worn, handmade Haggadahs. The Seder plates themselves are as traditional as can be expected from people fleeing their homes. Missing is the Zeroa. Bones, however small, were not something either of them had thought about for a long time. The Karaset was not so much Karaset as sliced apples and almonds. Neither had been in the mood for that much chopping. Matzah is also noticeably absent. Instead, there are simple wheat crackers, much easier for the two to get their hands on. They're sure to include an orange and olives on each. Not always easy to acquire, but honoring the shared struggles of humanity is worth the cost. No discussion of what the two read happens, only pained or embarrassed looks pass between them. Any songs they choose to sing out loud are barely audible. Finally, they reach the end of the ritual with little ceremony. The rest of the meal continues much the same as the Seder. Silent, awkward glances back and forth. Something almost being said. Nothing ever making it over to the other person. Plates slowly have their contents eaten away. When the two are no longer picking at the remains of their meals, Chiara pours the 5th cup of wine. The two wordlessly eye the cup on the table. A knock on metal breaks the awkward silence. They tense up, listening intently. There's something different about this sound than what they have been hearing the rest of the day. Another knock and they both jump out of their seats. The middle of nowhere should be empty, and yet a third knock convinces them to investigate. They shuffle towards the rear hatch in fearful silence, yet not bothering or thinking to arm themselves just in case. Upon reaching the hatch, Rika and Chiara take each other's hands and wait, wondering if whatever or whoever's outside is gone. Excuse me. The 4th knock provides an answer as they both almost hit their heads on the ceiling. Attempting to regain their composure, they both stare at the hatch's locking mechanism. Wordlessly, they negotiate who will be the one to open the door to whatever lies beyond. It is, after all, Basak. Placing their hands on the lock, they count down in silence. Hitting 0, Rika and Chiara close their eyes as they both open the hatch. A ghostly silhouette greets them as they pull the hatch open. Rika and Chiara hold each other tight as their eyes remain locked on their new guest. The ghost, for its part, politely waits to be allowed entrance, only tilting its head as if to ask permission. Its patience pays off as the two eventually remember they're supposed to welcome guests and allow the ghost inside. Light trails of snow follow the ghost on its way to where the two were having their meal. Rika and Chiara follow the guest, unsure of how to act. Once they arrive back at the table, the ghost again waits for an invitation, to what neither of them are sure. A moment's hesitation later, and they both awkwardly gesture for their new companion to do as it pleases. Upon receiving the invitation, the ghost sits on the table, next to the 5th cup of wine, and once again tilts its head in Rika and Chiara's direction. Neither of them know how to respond. Their companion then faintly nods its head toward the vacant chairs. The two gingerly return to their seats and resume waiting. A minute passes before their guest, with a more extravagant motion than either of them expects, picks up the cup. 2 pairs of eyes follow the cup in the ghostly embrace, waiting, wondering. Their answer comes when their companion gracefully puts the cup to its lips, apparently drains the contents, and replaces the cup on the table. The 2 pairs of eyes continue to follow the cup on its journey, only returning to the ghost once the cup is back in its original place. A very satisfied gaze lands on them as their guest nods its head in what they can only interpret as thanks. In one smooth motion, the ghost rises from the table and heads back to the hatch, gathering up all the snow that it had tracked in, and leaving no trace of its presence. Entranced by the flurry of snow rushing out of the room, they wait too long to be able to give a proper send-off to their guest. They rush back to the hatch only to find it closed and locked. I'm sorry, was that God? Was that God that just showed up?
knocks on door, drinks your wine, refuses to elaborate, leaves. The two return to the table to inspect the fifth cup that was apparently drained. To their surprise, it is still full. Oh, okay. This simple fact finally breaks the silence between them as they sit back down. Hey, that just happened, right? Depends what you mean by that, but yes it did. Happy Pasak, I guess? Happy Pasak. It's funny to say that. Humor is necessary, right? I suppose it is. So, what do you think this means? I think this is an event that we put into our Haggadahs. Yeah. Will we tell anyone else? Neither of us is in the business of keeping this kind of thing a secret. Oh, we aren't dying here, alright? I wasn't planning on it, just... You can tell me, whatever it is, it'll be alright. I think... I do wonder if this is why we got a visitor. Ghosts are about remembering, yeah? That they are. I can't stop remembering now. Remembering what? Whatever it is, I want to hear. Especially if it's got you like this. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to put my thoughts in order. It's alright, take your time. Promise not to hate me for what I'm about to say? What do you mean? Promise? Promise. This is the safest I've felt in years. Away from the city. No possibility of return? Going on an adventure with you? I'm sorry, I didn't realize. It's my fault. I didn't say anything for years. So I finally will. I'll listen as best as I can. This was 4 years ago. It's why the city stopped feeling like home. God, I'm so sorry. It's also why I haven't been able to help with any deals or other things, just hiding and everything else. I did wonder if something had happened. I'm sorry I didn't want to talk about it, but here I am now, thanks to a ghost. Thank you, Elijah. So the timing on this was particularly bad. It was a few months after I'd finally come out publicly. Oh god. You remember that piece of shit Antonio? Yes? Is this why you pushed so hard for me to stop dealing with him? Yeah. Well, and because I saw how he treated you too. That was just how it was with him. We'd had an especially few... Blah, blah, blah. We'd had an especially good few jobs, yeah, to the point that the restriction on businesses kicked in. Not that our preferred clients could have afforded to buy all that salvage in the first place. Enter that fuck Antonio. The only man generous enough to buy whatever we offered. Tell me, what did you do with all the IOUs he paid you in? Kindling for one of those cold nights we had to sleep in front of the fireplace. That's probably more value than what I got out of this ordeal. So I'm running around town, desperately trying to find people allowed to buy our stockpile before the city repossesses it. A few people take some of the rare parts, but the standard fare is impossible. I assume avoiding Antonio because of what you've seen him be like with me. Yeah, and he was perpetually on the verge of bankruptcy. I knew he wouldn't give me a good offer, but I was still not prepared. I'm so sorry, Ree. He was the last person I went to that day. And I won't let all the other merchants off the hook for still screwing me over with what they bought, or didn't, but that's the cost of business. Antonio, though, he made such a big show of how happy he was I was there, and how much he was dying to take all the rest of the salvage off my hands. Some of how much he liked doing business with Jews in there?
Oh yes, how honest and hardworking we are. How absolutely thrilled he was he could finally make a deal with me directly. Not before he dead named me then made huge apologies, over and over, mind you. That'd have been most of my day, but the way he did still stands out. Pure condescension. Ree, I'm so sorry. I tried to steer things toward business, but he kept telling me how great he thought it was that I was out and how much it meant that I could... Wait, no. I tried to steer things toward business, but he kept telling me how great he thought it was that I was out and how much it meant that I could be. And how much it meant that I could be. Wow, syntax is weird. More about how progressive and welcoming the Jews were for accepting me. So I let him run his course, smiling and nodding at everything he said. Thought I would be able to take whatever he offered at the end of all of this and leave without a second thought. I was wrong. Oh, no. I wish I could have helped. He made me an offer just barely above nothing, telling me I should be grateful because I would get nothing otherwise. How I should be grateful he was willing to cut a deal on such short notice. That my circumstances and desperation were my own problem and how he could easily leave me with nothing. That it was only by his generosity to us poor Jews was I even given this insulting offer. Maybe under other circumstances I would have punched him, even just cussed him out. I wouldn't have blamed you for it, and I don't blame you for not either. All I could do was sit there and feel the hatred wrapped around words of magnanimity. Pure disgust at everything about me as he apologized again for dead naming me. I don't know how long I was frozen there. And he was right. I had to take it. What he offered was better than nothing. In this city, I couldn't do a thing about it. This was business as usual. I could only quietly take my pound of flesh. Ree, I had no idea it was that bad. Not the money, but everything else. That's why that house wasn't home without you. Why the city wasn't. You've been carrying this around all this time. I'm so sorry. I'd hoped it would go away with time. It didn't. It's not something light enough to. The moment he told me to shut up when I opened my mouth in protest still haunts me. I've gotten very good at ignoring it, but you can't. Not really. No, I can't. I can't ignore that kind of hatred. And for what? It's hate. It's never about you. Not really. I wasn't raised with the stories or traditions like you. I'm about as far from maintaining the culture as you can get. And yet, it's enough. You're enough. I can't even be hated right. That's not what I meant. I know that I'm Jewish enough to be hated like that while I hate my own disconnection from the thing I'm hated for. Humor is necessary. Humor is necessary. Not sufficient, but necessary. A brief silence hangs between them. I don't know if I can reconcile it. Knowing so little, needing all this help to practice my own culture, yet being hated for my connection to it all the same. It's not something you need to do by yourself. Neither are the stories and traditions. The culture is communal. The sound of something tapping on metal. Yeah, just if it came down to it, I don't know if I could die for my culture properly. More silence. You are my partner. In life, in these traditions, if it came down to it, I can't think of a more proper person. Aw, that's sweet. They made up. Chiara can't stand it any longer and pulls Rika into the biggest, longest hug she can manage. They sit in each other's embrace, thankful for the dam that burst, thankful for their visitor, thankful for each other. Tears stain Rika's cheek and Chiara's jacket.
They pull each other close again, feeling the warmth that was always there. Chiara carries Rika back to her seat so they can continue their journey, but not before brushing the remaining tears from her partner's cheeks. To be continued. Okay. That was a nice little game. Ah, and of course, credits. Gotta let the credits roll. Yeah. So, that was an interesting gameplay mechanic. Controlling the physicality. A little bit clunky, a little bit glitchy. But interesting gimmick. But the story, the character interactions, you know, the melodrama. You know, that's where it all was. Just two lovers fleeing their home, struggling with a desolate situation, coming to a boiling point and then making up. With the echoes of bitterness over the past underlying all of it. Good story. Good story. Not sure that I have a lot to say about it. Unfortunately, as I said, I'm not Jewish, and I'm not familiar enough with Jewish culture to understand the underlying meaning of all those terms that were thrown around. I mean, I vaguely know I know the Passover. I know the whole story of, like, Moses and fleeing Egypt and all that, wandering the desert, etc., but I'm not familiar enough with Jewish culture to really resonate with this story on, like, more than a surface level, unfortunately. But still, either way, good story. Good story, good character writing, good drama. Good game. Now, I suspect that if I choose started as Chiara, it will just be the exact same story, played out exactly the same way. And if it is, in like the first couple minutes, then, alright. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Okay, yeah, no, we have in fact, okay, yeah, we have in fact seen all of this dialogue before. I'm not about to read all that again, for the sake of controlling a different character's physicality. So, we're just gonna leave it there. Consider this one complete. So, that was Tracks in Snow, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This VOD will be on YouTube later. And I might set up another game after this one. So, till then, for all my YouTube watchers, we'll see you next time. And for all of our Twitch viewers, we'll be back in about maybe 5-10 minutes. So, for now, while I set up, have a good one.